Hi, this is a demonstration of the mdsal-trace tool. It's a tool to help you comprehend the code flow within OpenDaylight applications. What the mdsal-trace tool does primarily is that it logs two things. One thing that it logs is modifications made to the md-sal. So in this log statement, we see that the method put, in other words, a write, was executed against the configuration data store at this path: nodes, node, flow capable node, table flow. In other words, we're writing an open flow. And if you look at the following long and cryptic text, which is much easier to read if you pretty print it, but this is an internal representation of the Yang model for an open flow. And it's not hard to understand. Like here, you can see that the table ID is 17. It goes into table 17, and so on and so forth. But most importantly, what this code does is it logs the stack trace that made that modification. So if you're looking for who wrote this data to the md-sal, which is sometimes difficult to find, this is very, very useful. So here, if you look at the stack trace for not too long, you can see that the class VPN node listener in a function called program table miss for VPN VNI demux table added this flow. This is especially useful for cases where you don't know exactly where the information is getting inserted into md-sal, because very often you can, for instance, find an exception happening in code that handles an event triggered by a write to md-sal, but you still don't know who triggered that event. So this kind of thing is very, very useful. The other thing that this code does is it logs registrations, listener registrations. It logs who registered to receive notifications on a certain path in the md-sal. So here we have one of those. So at nodes node flow capable node, somebody registered for that. So if we look at the stack trace printed, we can see that the name of the class that has made that registration. And then we can go debug that. Using mdsal-trace is pretty easy. It's all done using some blueprint magic. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that the mdsal-trace feature is available in your carafe by inserting these lines, by adding the feature to your carafe and recompiling it. And the next thing you need to do is to make sure that you install the mdsal-trace feature before the feature that you are debugging and working on. So for instance, I work on netvert. So prior to installing netvert, I've installed ODL mdsal-trace, and that will cause the blueprint magic to happen, and ODL mdsal-trace will intercept all of the modifications that are made to the md-sal and all of the listener registrations that are made to the md-sal. There is another useful feature worth knowing about, and that is since everything writes to the md-sal, you get a lot of log lines when you turn this feature on. So there is an option that you can configure in this file there is an option to have mdsal-trace filter out to only print the paths that you are interested in. These are called watches. There's two kinds. There's registration watches and write watches. So if there are no watches, everything gets printed. But if you configure watches, and you can configure multiple, then only writes or registrations to those paths or below them will get logged. You can find the mdsal-trace project is the mdsal-trace bundle and features are bundles and features are in the controller project, and I will put a link in this at the bottom of this video on YouTube to a blog post that describes more about using this feature.